Dorset bore the brunt of the snow across the region. Every county in the south has been affected. It was worse in Dorset, though. It made roads treacherous, and the A35 west of Dorchester was closed from an early stage because of traffic accidents. Lectures at Bournemouth University were an early casualty of the weather. Steve Humphrey is in Shaftesbury for us this lunchtime. Steve.
Well, so far here in Shaftesbury, we've had about 4 inches of snow, and as you can see, more is coming down now. There have been a spate of accidents on roads right across Dorset. Many people that we've been speaking to say it certainly is a day for staying at home.
As the weather deteriorated, a fleet of snow ploughs and gritting lorries battled to keep the main roads open. For those who ventured out, it was a very slippy morning. Across Dorset, there have been a series of accidents. 2 lorries jackknifed on the A35, one at Winterbourne Abbas, another between Dorchester and Bridport. Some of those who attempted the journey to work were beaten by the conditions.
Well, we tried to leave Shaftesbury this morning about 7:15 to get to Blandford. We got just about half a mile down over the hill, and it was a no-no. We just turned around and said, come back.
How would you just sort of describe it at the moment here?
Very picturesque. And very quiet, actually. It's nice and peaceful. It's quite pleasant not having any traffic about.
People have been finding novel ways of getting around. It has been perfect weather for a husky.
We should have been working, we should have been doing jobs, kids should have been at school. We're out having fun.
With so many schools closed, plenty of youngsters have been out sledging and boarding. Shaftesbury's famous Gold Hill is now Snow Hill. Despite the thick snow and very difficult driving conditions, some delivery drivers are still getting through with essential supplies.
Well, it has been snowing here in Shaftesbury almost continuously since 3:30 this morning. Some of the roads which have been gritted have improved slightly, but still big problems on minor roads. The advice from the police is that people should think very carefully before venturing out in their cars. From snowy Shaftesbury, back to you.
Steve, thank you very much. The snow has hit us across the region. Every county in the south has been affected. The headlines in Hampshire: disruption for many bus services and big delays for motorists. Schools closed, Southampton Airport at a standstill. But most rail services kept running. Ben Moore is in Winchester this lunchtime.
Yes, thanks, Laura. The normally busy station at this point in the afternoon very much subdued today. I've just checked on the platform. The trains are running, but subject to delays of about 40 minutes. Still faring better than the roads, though. For example, during the rush hour this morning, about 8 o'clock, I set off from the BBC in Southampton to go to film at the airport, a journey of about 4 miles. It took me well over an hour to make that journey. As Chrissy Sturt reports, it's been a frustrating morning for most.
Peak of the rush hour, no grip on the roads, and this is what happens. Just one of many drivers struggling this morning. In Southampton, first buses also tried to keep going, but with vehicles stalling, they soon gave up.
All the buses, for the safety of the passengers and ourselves, have been taken off the road. We're all heading back to our depot at Empress Road. So it's just trying to get back at the moment.
Should you have tried to get out at all today?
Well, when we first left the yard this morning, the conditions were nothing like they are today, now.
Southampton Airport has invested nearly £1 million in 5 snowploughs over the last 2 years, but they were still defeated. All flights today cancelled so far, leading to queues and frustration.
We're here at 6 o'clock for a 6:45 flight, and just not going, is it? So I have to come back again in the morning, isn't it?
Was trying to go to Amsterdam first, then I tried to go to Germany, to Düsseldorf. Both failed due to the snow. Now I'm hoping for an afternoon flight to Amsterdam.
On the railways, efforts were underway to clear platforms. There have been some cancellations, but South West Trains is broadly keeping on the move, only with fewer trains. With schools closed across Hampshire and here on the Isle of Wight, many are making the most of the first blizzard in 2 years. Chrissy Sturt, BBC South Today.
One thing that we have noticed here is that grit is becoming more and more in plentiful supplies here. The road here, not sheet ice at all, it's more slush now, but it's the trains that we're concentrating on here this afternoon. South West Trains and Southern are running an emergency timetable. Their message is, do check before you travel. Laura.
Ben, thank you very much. Well, Oxfordshire hasn't escaped the disruption. Schools have closed, snowplows are out as the councils try to keep main routes open, and Oxford Airport is snowbound. Jeremy Stern is near the centre of Oxford.
Well, Laura, in Oxford, the snow's really started coming down in the last hour or so. There are a couple of inches here already. Overnight, there were heavy snowstorms, particularly in the west of Oxfordshire. In Chipping Norton, the school's one of about 100 in the county that's closed. People in the town have been helping to clear roads and paths. The county council, which is responsible for roads, says it's well prepared for what's happening. Gritters have been out throughout this morning. They could be used later tonight as well. Now, Oxfordshire's a particularly rural county. There are concerns about the smaller country lanes.
The network that we treat is 43%, which includes all the A roads, all the B roads, and many of the busier bus routes on the sort of smaller network of the roads. Unfortunately, we just do not have the resources to cope with all the minor roads that lead to a lot of the rural areas.
Well, Oxford Airport flights were suspended this morning. And in fact, we've just heard that the airport's now being closed until further notice, so these planes won't be taking off anytime soon. Now, there were predictions earlier this morning that the snow would stop by lunchtime. Certainly not the case, is it? We're expecting more snow until the mid-afternoon at the very least. Laura.
Jeremy, thank you very much indeed. Well, elsewhere, snowy conditions have been causing misery for motorists. A tanker crashed on the A29 in Slindon in West Sussex. This was the scene from the M4 in the Thames Valley earlier this morning. Traffic managing to get through slowly there. Snow's also hit parts of West Sussex. This is what the beach looks like at Goring by the Sea. Thank you to Claire Sandy for that.